1, 2, 3, 4.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? It's Babylon 5 Podcast. It's your boy, Jermaine event. This is Babylon. This is episode 180, and we're calling this bad boy Change. Change. This episode is called Change, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching this video, you're gonna get this side view of me. You usually get this side view. I'm trying to change that. I'm trying to change a lot of things, actually. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about that later on in the podcast. We're going to talk about that. But as I said, this is episode 180. We've made it to 180 weeks straight of this shit. Straight, no misses, nigga. 180 weeks we here. Shout out to all my real niggas. Shout out to my day ones. Alright? Shout out my day ones. We've made it to 180. All 6 of us. Shout out to y'all. We in here. Real nigga MMA is what's happening out here, ladies and gentlemen. Real nigga MMA content is what's been happening for 180 straight weeks, ladies and gentlemen. It started after your boy went and saw Daniel Cormier versus Stipe 2 in Anaheim. Right after I got married, I went and saw Stipe and DC fight in the rematch. I saw Stipe river dance on that nigga live. Nigga, I was there. And 180 weeks later, nigga, here we are. Babylon 5 Podcast. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for being here. And letting me babble. This week we are going to touch on the hype shit that I saw in PFL this weekend, the Challenger Series. I was hyped for that. I fell asleep at the end. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I forget who fought. It was like a Russian wrestler versus a Brazilian jiu-jitsu guy. Natural fucking beef. You know, I want to see that matchup. Nigga, I remember they came together. They were walking together. Then I blinked, looked up, and they were standing they were walking to the ref. They were walking up, and the ref grabbed niggas' hands, and they were like, all right, now we're about to get the decision. I was like, what the fuck? I just fell asleep through that whole, I was watching it on my phone. And just laying in bed, watching it, and I fucking passed out. Missed the main event. But the co-main, we're going to shout out that young brother. All right? We're going to shout out that young brother in this podcast. We're going to talk about the PFL Challenger Series with 1,000 commentators. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Bellator 290, ladies and gentlemen. When do we ever talk about Bellator? When do we ever talk about any other fight promotion other than the UFC? We're going to talk about Bellator and PFL today. Ladies and gentlemen, change gonna come. It's been a long time coming. But I know change gonna come, ladies and gentlemen. Change gonna come. We're going to talk about Bellator 290, Ryan Bader versus Fedor Emelianenko 2. I did not see 1. I know, like, it's probably sacrilegious to be a nigga that talks about MMA and not to be all over Fedor's dick. Alright? It's sacrilegious for me to not be all over Fedor's dick. But I wasn't there for it, okay? I know he's fighting Saturday. I wasn't there for the whole he's the greatest fighter in the world run. I didn't see any of that shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm as I've told you niggas, a Conor, Ronda, John Jones type nigga. That's what got your boy into the game. That's what got your boy into the game. And to be honest, I had my nigga Elliot. I just would ask him questions about our chemistry homework. And then that blossomed into a friendship. And then that led to me going to the youth group, his church youth group, which led to his youth pastor. Shout out to Mike Henry. I guess technically our youth pastor. Showing me UFC, my nigga. He showed me UFC, he showed me Dexter. All the cool shit. You know what I'm saying? All the cool shit. Shout out to Mike Henry. Shout out to that whole family. But yeah. Alright. I forget what I was going on, what rant I was going on. I forget what rant I was going on, but we're talking about things. Change is coming. Also on this podcast, we're going to talk about the rebooked main event between Sergey Spivak and Derek Lewis. Now, I talked about this a few weeks back when this fight originally was supposed to take place, but as we all know, potentially Derek Lewis had the bubble guts, he couldn't fight. They said stomach issues. He could not fight. So here we get the rebooking of this fight. Sergey Spivak versus Derek Lewis. Now, my prediction is pretty much the same, but I guess the only difference I would say now is the recent pictures. I remember back, there's this woman I follow, Amy, that does photography, and she, during that fight week, the press week, she was saying like, yo, Derek Lewis is in phenomenal shape. You know, she just kept going on about the shape that Derek Lewis is in. And then I've recently seen some photos of Derek Lewis that says like, damn, he's lost like 20, 30 pounds. He's definitely toned up. He was usually just a big boy. But he's definitely toned up. And we're going to talk about another fighter on that card there that I personally fucking love, ladies and gentlemen. Because if you can't stand for random Russian fighters, Russian area fighters at least, Ali managed fighters at least, if you can't stand for your favorite Russian fighters on your podcast, then what the whole fucking point is this shit? If I can't stand for these fighters. And lastly, we're going to talk about some of the things that I think are necessary here going forward with the Babble on 5 podcast, especially with this new group that I've been added to on Twitter. And I added in the homie Geisha. I added in the Ben. I added in everybody. Unify Rules podcast. I added in everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like, the homies are going to benefit off of this. And sure enough, like, Geisha was hitting everybody up because she's doing research about a video. And everybody's just so fucking helpful with information. And I'm like, I need to be taking advantage of this and making... We're going to talk about that later. All right? We're going to talk about that later. And I get to that point in the podcast. But if you guys would like to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. And if you guys would like to email this podcast, it's at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to this podcast, I'd appreciate it so much. If you guys would like to follow your boy on Twitch, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys would like to comp some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. And lastly, don't just be my niggy, be my patron. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. We didn't have any UFC fights this weekend, my niggas. This is a combat sports podcast. There was Archer B. last name who boxed some other nigga Yard. I don't know who the fuck either of those guys are, but shout out to them. The Archer B. word guy, he won. Shout out to him. There were combat sports that went on, and they should be acknowledged, if not paid attention to. I just didn't watch it. I saw it. I saw the people were posting about it. But I didn't know either of the niggas, so I didn't watch it. But we did have fights. We had MMA fights if you wanted it. If you couldn't get your UFC fix, there were MMA fights if you wanted it, ladies and gentlemen. Shout out to Thad Gene. Or John. Is it Gene or John? That Jean? I say that because the commentators originally there was like 13 commentators. There's like Wiz Khalifa, who's co-owner of this league. Jake Paul wasn't on commentary, but he's also co-owner of this. I believe he just signed with this league. This is the league that Jake Paul just signed with. I don't know if he's co-owner yet, but he should be like some top nigga there. But Wiz Khalifa is co-owner of this league, and they were like FaceTiming this nigga from home. All right, he was commentating via webcam, and and there was some other nigga, some MMA blogger. When I saw that nigga on TV, I was like, fuck, that could be me, nigga. I'm not hating on that nigga that was there doing that. I mean, I'm hating in the point because I thought it was too many fucking people commentating on the fight. What does this nigga think about it? Yeah, I'm Wiz Khalifa in my mansion, and I just think that nigga needs to be more entertaining. He ain't trying to get a contract. That nigga needs to understand that we trying to entertain niggas. And it's like, nigga, he's trying to win. He's undefeated. Get that nigga a contract. You know what I'm saying? Give that nigga a contract. But the fight that I did see, I'm fucking old, ladies and gentlemen. I'm an old man. I feel that way. At least I felt like an old ass man when I was trying to figure out how to watch PFL, nigga. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I went to ESPN Plus. I thought I heard it was gonna be on ESPN Plus, and I was like, oh shit, it's not streaming. I was like, what the fuck? How do I figure this out? So then I went to, I think I searched it on Google, and it said via Fubo. So I downloaded the Fubo app, and when I opened the Fubo app, it's like, sign up for a free trial. I was like, nigga, no. I'm not signing up for no free trials, my nigga. No. So at that point, I was like, I guess I'm not watching fucking PFL because I'm not signing up for no goddamn trials. I don't give a fuck, nigga. Out of principle, I'm not signing up for your goddamn trial. So that's where I was with that. But I went online and it was like, this nigga, low-key, I I've been today having this. I think yesterday it really started with this nasty cough, nigga. Like a grown man ass cough, and it just and the phlegm. I'm like, yo, this is not good. This feels like I'm getting sick, nigga. It don't feel like just a regular ass cough, nigga. I feel like I'm getting sick, and I was listening to this podcast with Joe Rogan. He was talking to Louis, and I think they mentioned like when you're not sick, you take being healthy for granted because it's just normal. But when you're sick, all you can think about like is I just want to feel better, nigga. And I feel that shit coming on. I feel like a cold is coming on. I feel like a terrible person. This is a fucking random babble, but this is what the point of this podcast should have been. The other day, just yesterday, I was like, there's this one guy who hasn't been at work. I noticed that he wasn't at work this week, is what I noticed, right? I'm giving y'all the truth. I noticed he wasn't at work today. I noticed he wasn't at work all week. And I asked, like, yo, where's Mario at? Niggas was like, his manager was like, bro's been, they were like, he's sick. I was like, oh, he's sick, he's been off this week. They're like, yeah, he's been off for the last 3 weeks. He's got shingles. Like, and I'm like, holy fuck, 3 weeks? And I'm just sitting here like, yo, he ain't been here this week. I'm sitting here like, yo, he ain't been here this week. And now I'm really feeling like an asshole. Because I work every day in the room with this nigga's wife. And for fucking 3 weeks, I haven't even noticed this nigga ain't been there. Oh my God. The reality of that just hit me. I ain't even fucking noticed that nigga wasn't there, and I work. His wife is right there every day. Fuck. She was there when I said something. She didn't say nothing. She didn't say nothing. She walked out the room. I was like, yo, where's Mario? She walked out the room, and somebody else was like, he's on vacation. I was like, oh, okay. He's on vacation. And then his manager was like, nah, man, he's sick. I was like, oh, shit. Now it's really hitting me like, fuck, I'm an asshole. I ain't say shit to nobody. This nigga been gone for 3 weeks. I didn't fucking notice. What the fuck, bro? Low key, I be busy as fuck. Anywho. And that's why I fell asleep on fights. Shout out to Thad Gene. Shout out to PFL. I figured it out how to get on there, and when I did, I went through their YouTube. I went through their Twitter, and it had a link that they pinned to watch it for free. So that's how I was able to watch PFL. I was able to watch Thad Gene versus the guy he fought. And honestly, I felt like the guy he fought was like, they were both undefeated going into that fight, but the guy he fought, the way he fights, just a little gritty, a little grimy, and what I felt like was bogus. Right, so I think in the first round, he's on the ground and he did this like stomp kind of kick to Thad Gene's knee to kind of like push it inward, like a stomping kick while he was laying on his back on the ground. That was in the first round. He also kind of jumps. He was on the ground at the end of the fight, and then he kind of leapt forward on the ground and tried to go for that kick again in the last second of the fight. He knew the fight was basically over, and he went to fucking injure that guy. He went to injure Thad Gene at the end of the fight if he could. That, to me, that kind of person, you guys need to watch out for. Whatever that nigga's name that fought Thad Gene at the PFL Challenger Series, watch out for that nigga. He looks fucking grimy. He tried to fucking injure that dude in the last second of the fight. He tried to injure that dude. It wasn't like a last second Hail Mary to win the fight. He was trying to injure that dude at the end of the fight. That was fucking grimy. But also this weekend we got Bellator 290. Ryan Bader versus Fedor Emelianenko 2. And they fought 2019, I believe. 2018. I could be wrong. Whatever. I didn't watch that fight. As I'm saying, change gonna come, ladies and gentlemen. I need to watch more. As I've been saying, I need to watch more other promotions. I was watching PFL. I was real hyped to see PFL. When I could finally figure it out, I watched about 2 fights and I passed out on the last one. It is what it is. Just being honest. But this one, the first fight here, as I saw via Tipology, Bader knocked out Fedor and Bader, I think I said Bader. Bader knocked out Fedor in 35 seconds in the first fight. I don't think that that's necessarily just going to happen this time around. But I think Ryan Bader's going to win that fight. Fedor Emelianenko, you niggas, I wasn't there for the whole GOAT run, best fighter in the world. I wasn't there for the Emperor's run. I'm there right now and this nigga's 46 years old. Versus, I believe, a 35-year-old Ryan Bader. Okay? I got Ryan Bader in this fight. But most importantly, most interesting to me on this card, you got Max Roshkoff versus Chris Gonzalez. Now, if you guys don't remember Max Roshkoff, he fought Austin Hubbard in his UFC debut. And then I believe after the first round, he went to his corner and he was begging his cornerman to stop the fight. He was done. And they should have listened to the fighter and stopped the fight. And it was made a big deal. He was ultimately cut. He was released from the UFC. And since then, Max Roshkoff is on a 2-fight win streak. 2-fight win streak via Cage Warriors. And now he is making his Bellator, I don't know if it's his debut or re-debut, but he's fighting at Bellator now after on a 2-fight win streak in Cage Warriors, and I'm genuinely interested in where Max Roshkoff goes on his MMA journey. Genuinely interested, man. I don't think we saw him, man. It's a big stage, as us the fans have turned the UFC stage into by agreeing to pay for everything, man. We've goddamned. We've done it. We've put that pressure on people. But I think Max Roshkoff is coming into himself. I'm very interested in where he goes in his MMA journey. So that's the most interesting fight for me on Bellator 290 is to watch Max Roshkoff versus Chris Gonzalez. Max Roshkoff is a favorite via Tipology. Heavy favorite via the votes. But those votes mean nothing, ladies and gentlemen. We're guessing at the end of the day. This is what we at least consider to be our educated guess, but we're guessing. Any fight can, Yair versus Brian Ortega. You could be like, if it goes to the ground, Ortega's winning this. And then it goes to the ground and his shoulder pops out immediately. And Yair wins. He goes from being in a dominant position of Yair, and then his shoulder pops out, and that ends the fight. So we could say, well, if this happens, it's over. But then fucking outliers happen. All right? When outliers happened, as Malcolm Gladwell will tell you niggas, that's some shit you can't necessarily... Well, no, that's some shit you can. No, I don't know. Nigga, I read Outliers. I have Outliers. And I didn't really... I don't know. I was younger when I read it. Maybe I should read it again. But at the time, I was like, this is just random ass information. This is horoscope shit that you could just choose to be like, oh, this is deep. Malcolm Gladwell ain't that deep, nigga. As far as I read it, I could be wrong. But as far as I read it, I was like, okay. He's like, well, this nigga was born on this day, so that set him back a year, so he was naturally bigger than everybody. So when he played sports with niggas in his grade, he was naturally a year older than everybody, thus bigger than everybody, so favored by the coaches. And it's like, what am I reading right now? Okay. You're telling me if you were in that situation, you wouldn't have been like, he the biggest nigga here, I don't care how old he is. Nigga, play defense. We're playing sports. You're bigger than everybody. And we're playing sports. That's usually gonna come in handy. Nigga, I don't care if it's the Mighty Ducks or Air Bud, my nigga. Being bigger than everybody is gonna come in handy. In sports. I guess, if you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing this weekend, ladies and gentlemen, we got some UFC fights popping up once again. We got Derek Lewis versus Sergey Spivak, and as I believe I've mentioned here, I can't seem to figure out how to spell this nigga's name. Sometimes it's spelled Sergeyspivak. And then right here, it's spelled Serghei Spivac. How do you, every time I look how to spell this nigga's name, it's spelled different. The first and last name are usually spelled different depending on what website I go to. I have no idea how Sergey Spivak's name is spelled, but as I said a few weeks ago, however long ago that I said, Sergey's about to dominate this nigga. It says they're both 6'3", but look at that picture. Like, Lewis is kind of looking up to him. They don't look the same height. Oh, shit, right here it says, see, it says Lewis is 6'3" and Sergey's 6'2". But then this one says they're both 6'3", and then when they stand next to each other, Sergey's clearly taller than him. He's looking down at him, and Lewis is looking up. But yet, why does it say he's 6'2" and that Lewis is 6'3", and it says, okay. It says Spivak has a 78. Oh, my God. Right. So, in that previous picture, Sergey with a K has a 78-inch reach, but Sergey with a C has a 77-inch reach. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Who is this guy? He's the guy that's about to beat Derek Lewis. All right? He's about to beat Derek Lewis this weekend. It's the same prediction as I had. He's 27. Derek Lewis is 35. How many losses is Derek Lewis currently on? I don't mean to be trying to pile on my nigga. You know, as the saying goes, Black Lives Matter. I'm not trying to shit on my nigga, but all right, no, he's only on a 2-fight losing streak. He beat Chris Dawkins in there. They threw Dawkins in there in the middle of things. Remember when Dawkins was on a run? You guys remember that? Who is it? Damn. Chris Dawkins won 2. He was on a 5-fight win streak. All right? Chris Dawkins was on a 5-fight win streak. 4 fights in the UFC. And then he met Derek Lewis and got knocked out in the first round. Then he met Curtis Blades and got knocked out in the second round. Then he met Jairzinho Rosenstrike and got knocked out in 23 seconds. Remember that? Remember when Chris Dawkins was on a fucking win streak? Lewis has lost in his previous... He lost to Sergey Pavlovich in the first round, 55 seconds. He lost to Tai Tuivasa in the second round via elbow knockout. Knocked that nigga out cold. Fell down stiff. And then prior to the Dawkins sacrifice, he was finished in the third round by Cyril Gane. He was actually absolutely dissected by Cyril Gane in that fight. The striking difference was insane. I think Spivak is going to dominate as he does most people. He's the most slept on heavyweight in the UFC without a doubt. Sergey Spivak. He's so good. He's finally come into himself. Like, he's finally come into that potential that I was seeing. When he lost to, I believe, Aspinall, I was so shocked. And he lost to Tom Aspinall. And he lost to Marcin Tybura? That kind of changes things. Because I'm looking at Marcin Tybura and I was like, I'm actually about to talk about this fight next. He's fighting Blagoy Ivanov, but I was definitely picking my nigga Blagoy. I'm a big Blagoy Ivanov fan. But, wait, what the fuck is going on here? Okay, 23-7. I was like, when I clicked the thing, it said he only had one loss, and I was like, no, there's plenty. I see a lot of losses in here. He's got 7 losses. He lost to Augusto Sakai, nigga. Shamil. Is that the nigga who just lost to Gelton Almeida? Yep. He lost to the nigga that just lost to Gelton Almeida. In the second round via punches. Lost to Derek Lewis, lost to Verdum. I'm not trying to shit on niggas, but he fought them niggas a long time ago. Yeah. I didn't know that happened. I didn't know that he lost, but that was earlier in his career. He also lost to Walt Harris. I bet he would be happy to run all those fights back. Sergey would win that, and he's about to win this fight. All right? Ain't nothing gonna change except the numbers on the statements. Like 291 type shit. Or us. Bellator. As I said, I was going to talk about this fight. Blagoy Ivanov versus Marcin Tybura. If I can't stand for my boys, for my niggas, if I can't stand for my niggas, then what is the point of this? Blagoy Ivanov. Big fan of Blagoy. You see that hole in his chest? That's when a nigga stabbed this man in his heart. And he survived that shit. Blagoy's got great sambo. He's just a badass, just a tough motherfucker. They tried to kill this nigga. That's why he got a hole right there in his fucking chest, middle of his chest. Because they tried to kill this nigga and they couldn't. Okay? Blagoy gets bad fucking shakes from the judges. From the fights that I've seen. He should have beat Derek Lewis, I know. I watched that fight live. That was a robbery. I think Ali was protesting afterwards. He just recently beat Marcos Rogerio de Lima. He should have beat Augusto Sakai. He lost via split decision. He gets terrible fucking decisions from the judges, and he lost via split to Derek Lewis. He should have won that fight. He should currently be on a 5-fight win streak, but alas, he gets those bad decisions from the judges. He's only 5'11", so he's usually... I think what it is that when these judges see this big dude throwing on this smaller, much smaller guy, they just think that there's more impact coming from what that bigger guy is offering as opposed to what 5'11" Blagoy is offering. But Blagoy is winning these fights. All right? That's why there's split decisions. Because there's somebody in there, there's people in here there's somebody in there that knows what the fuck is going on. And clearly people who are just showing up. That's why these splits are happening. Somebody's like, yo, he's taking him down, controlling him, getting ground and pound. They're seeing what Blagoy is doing. He's great. All right? Blagoy is great. Where's this nigga from? He's from Bulgaria. All right? I was like a Russian nigga, but he's from Bulgaria. I was like, I'm not exactly sure if he's like a Chechenian nigga or how these niggas be coming. I wasn't sure, but that's where Blagoy Ivanov is from. He's from Bulgaria. And I fucks with my nigga Blagoy. I'm still sticking with him in this fight. He's going to beat Marcin Tybura. He's just a beast. He's just a beast. So I was thinking about... That's that cough right there, ladies and gentlemen. That's that nasty-ass cough. I was thinking, like... You know, I'm a big fan of... I was trying to watch a lot more YouTube MMA content creators, and... You know, I've always been a big admirer of Luke Thomas. That's one of my favorite guys who talks about MMA. Ariel Helwani, obviously. James Lynch, phenomenal work. And, like, every time I see a James Lynch video, I'm like, why am I not reacting to this right now? Like, I'll get the notification just like probably he is, probably at the exact same time. And James Lynch then reacts to it. He turns it into content. And I'm thinking the changes that I need to make to this podcast, or just what I'm doing in general, not necessarily to the podcast, but the changes to the podcast that I was thinking were to essentially maybe even cut back on how frequently I release the podcast and just focus more on YouTube content. Because I think that's where the goal is with this. That's where I'm at right now. And I think it's just, I need to focus more on making... This is happening now. I know I said, like, hey, I hate to react to the news, and that's mainly because I released this podcast on Monday. Like, if I'm reacting to everything that happened last week, you know what I'm saying? Which essentially is what this is. If something happens on Sunday and I can catch it before I record, I usually try to record later so I can try to see if something's going to happen, if an announcement's going to make. You know, then I don't really have it. And I kind of even hate, like, posting about the shit on Instagram, because it's like I'm reacting to shit that everybody already... I'm watching everybody else I follow react to it, and I'm waiting until Sunday to record it and then release it Monday morning. All right. It's nonsense. I need to focus on making nice fucking YouTube content, reacting to whatever. Reacting to Conor McGregor, my niggas. Conor McGregor just got hit by a car. He almost died. We almost lost the GOAT. The guy that brought a lot of us here. A lot of us younger folks. As I said, I was not there for Fedor's run. I'm a younger guy, if you will. The UFC is on its 30th anniversary, which means I was 3 years old when this shit started. I wasn't there when most of you got into it. I wasn't old enough. I didn't know niggas did this. I didn't know it was a thing. Mixed martial arts. What I knew At 3, I didn't know much at 3. What I knew at 5 was that a super kick will knock you out for at least 3 seconds. What I knew from that age was you got clowns and all kinds. You know what I'm saying? I watched wrestling as a child. I grew up in the 90s, the heyday of professional fucking wrestling, nigga. I don't even know why I'm on this rant. All I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know, like, when I intend to make the transition. I intend to, like, get a new mic stand or a camera stand so that I can have this shit in the front. So I'm always facing the camera. I was going to turn it around because, like, how this shit is set here, I have my mic here. Is that. But with the fucking. I use my TV here, which is big as fuck, you know. So I was going to put the camera on top, but that's not the case. But what I'm going to do is try to put it on right here on the stand because it's just too big to, like, kind of set it up anywhere else. This monitor, my TV, 55 inches, I believe. It's just too fucking big. My eyes, I guess, have adjusted to this big-ass TV by this point, but you niggas know what I was saying. This was a rough-ass fucking adjustment, man. Fucking coughing like a mother. I think I'm coming down with a cold. This cough is nasty, my nigga. I ain't even been smoking lately. You know what I'm saying? This cough is coming after I ain't even been smoking lately. So that's why I'm like, damn, I'm getting sick. Because I ain't even been smoking like that. Even when I've been smoking, I don't really be coughing like this. So that's why I really am like, yo, I'm getting sick. Unfortunately. I'm just killing shit at work right now. It's unfortunate that I potentially could get sick. Because I'm killing it. Personally. I don't know, man. It was weird. I'm talking about some real shit. I ain't trying to mention some names here. But we can get off this YouTube. I'm just saying I need to make some adjustments in what I'm doing here. And then that can make everything better. I feel like I'm killing it at work. I was hearing niggas, the owner was there today. He's there all the time. But he was there today and he was talking to another manager. And the way he was talking to this nigga, bruh, it was like, I don't know, bro. It was like, they were like, are you checking your inventory before you put in an order? Like they were talking to a fucking child, bro. And I'm like, shit, at least they ain't talking to me like that. These niggas, these corporate niggas been here for weeks. And really ain't nobody said shit to me. So maybe shit is okay right now. Or maybe they just waiting to drop that fucking hammer on your boy. I don't know. But the way they was talking to this nigga, talking about some, well, are you checking your inventory? I was like, holy fuck. This nigga's been running that department for years. And y'all are coming, well, I have heard some issues. Some glaring issues where it's like a problem, but like they're coming at this nigga about other shit where I'm like, holy fuck. I was sitting there thinking like, I probably would have snapped. I probably would have been like, yo, real talk, fuck this whole conversation. That's how I was thinking, sitting there listening to it. I would have been like, fuck this whole conversation, nigga. Say what the fuck you need to say to me. Alright? They were talking to this nigga like a child. So that's why I was like, nigga, I must be doing something okay. I was like, I'm trying to do a little extra. Nigga, I was doing too much. I was like, let me try to do extra. Because, like, it ain't like now, oh, shit, they ain't talking to me like that. I can relax. Nigga, I don't want that shit to happen. Nigga, I was like, holy fuck. He's handling it different than I think I could. The way that they're talking to him. You know what I'm saying? At this point, I was like, I got to step it up even more. Because they're not saying that to me. But if they do, I don't know how that's going to go down. So, like... yeah, that's how that was. I was at work today. They was talking to this grown ass man. It's grown ass man. Nigga. I mean, I was coming to terms the other day with the fact that probably when people look at me, they see an adult. I was like, these niggas probably think they see a grown man when they looking at me. They don't know that I'm still a fucking 22-year-old kid in my mind. I'm still that kid. They don't know it. I'm still 22 in my mind. I still feel fucking... you know what I'm saying? I don't know what maturing is. This is like your change of thought, if it is what it is. But I'm like, nigga, I've always felt the same. I've always felt like the same nigga. You know what I'm saying? I just got more knowledge at this point. I've always felt like the same nigga. I've always felt like this nigga. I've always been that nigga. So, like, I don't know. I've always been that. But I thought, you know, niggas is looking at me. I realized that niggas is looking at me like an adult. And I don't even know why I went on that rant. I remembered the last thing I said, and I was like, let me try to catch it. I don't know why the fuck I went on that rant. Sorry. I'm going to listen back to this tomorrow and be like, nigga, you were on to something. You were killing it. And if you guys want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You guys can email this podcast at Babylon5Podcast@gmail.com. If you guys would like to hit that like button anywhere that you're listening to the podcast, please go ahead and do it. Shout out to Lockdown 88, the Dante show. I'm only saying that because he constantly is like, hit that like button, and I'm like, I need to do that a little more. And I didn't do it this one. So I'm shouting out Lockdown 88 because it's an inspiration for me to be like, yo, niggas, hit that fucking like button. If you're hearing these words, hit that goddamn like button. If you guys would like to follow this podcast on Twitch, head on over to twitch.tv/Babylon5. If you guys would like to cop some merchandise, head on over to teespring.com/store/BOFpod-shop. That's BOFPOD-shop. And if you guys would like to be more than my niche, be my patrons. Head on over to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. And this has been episode 180, my niggas. This has been episode 180. Thank you guys for being here. You can hear that mouse going all over the place there. I don't have a mouse pad. I should probably get a mouse pad. I wanted to get a UFC mouse pad. And then that shit was like $30. I was like, nigga, it's 2023. Who the fuck else is looking for a mouse pad? I'm the only nigga looking for a mouse pad here. You better give me that shit for 10. We call it even. Give me a chance to haggle. I just felt like 30 is a little steep for a fucking UFC mouse pad in 2023. I just felt that way. I felt like it was unfair. So you can hear that. But thank you guys so much for being here. Another week. Episode 180. Change. This is called change, because change gonna come, ladies and gentlemen. It's just got to come in the form of just more content. New channel. I forgot to mention that. Potential new channels is the thing. I might have 2 potential new channels. I don't like how the channel that it currently uploads the audio podcast, and I currently upload the video of the podcast. That channel. I don't like how that's also the channel that I do music and whatnot. I just want a separate channel that does content, and a separate channel that I put music on. There's multiple, and for whatever I'm doing, there's gonna be multiple channels for all the content. So there's gonna be new YouTube channels. I should let you guys know that. Hopefully you made it this far, but thank you guys for being here. I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other, and I'll see you when I see you.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now.